The hottest rock of today.
Hi, it's Mixie from Stitched Up Heart.
The iconic rock of yesterday.
Yo, this is Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses.
Welcome to the jungle! 99 WNRR. Streaming digital radio. Get social now. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. The new Now 99 WNRR. Streaming digital radio.
For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named, then all nameless here forevermore. The Raven.
Let's get with Vigil-ANTE, and then we'll be right back. Do this.
Hey, at least I have a voice today. I have a voice. Yesterday I was breaking big time.
Yes, ma'am.
It's way better.
Well, good afternoon, loves. And you know what? I am very, very happy to have one of my bands from my Ravens Reveal list on with me right now. And we've been trying to do this for a hot minute, but this is the band VIGIL-ANTE from Canada. Woo woo. And I've got John with me in the house and the lovely Miss Sanja as well. We're gonna talk a little bit here, but these guys are amazing, and I love them. Two pieces are absolutely amazing. So you guys, please introduce yourselves if you do not mind, and then we'll talk a little about the band and album and all that stuff.
You go ahead, son.
I go ahead. Well, my name is Sanja Simpson. I am the newest member of this band that's been around for quite some time. We are currently a recording trio, and we just love to create all kinds of different music. We don't like to stick to just one kind of a sound. So if you ever listen to our CDs, it goes one way and then all of a sudden something else is thrown in there and kind of throws people off. And it's like, whoa. So yeah, we just, we love our metal and our hard stuff and a lot of melody. Yes. I really enjoy melodies.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. I love it. Mr. John, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Corey and I started the band in 2008 after some studio stuff that's where I met him, just doing some session stuff. And of course, you got day gigs and all that kind of thing that go along with it. And we just found that we had something around 2008 and just kept it going from there. Start things off with a good rhythm bed and then build a tune after that. Make soundscapes.
Wow. 2008, John? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I I was born during the Korean War, so that should tell you something.
Oh, whatever. I don't want to even hear that. Yeah. I don't want to hear that. You don't even look 25. I don't want to hear that, sir.
Yeah. Now you're kidding.
He's a jolly young man, I'll tell you that.
Yes, yes.
That man can jam.
Yes, he can. Obviously, from y'all's stuff that you sent me. Now, you mentioned, Miss Sanja, that your band that the sound is like literally all over the place. Where do you get that sort of influence from for your different melodies and things like that?
John, you want to take that and then I'll build on it?
Yeah, pretty much just like I say, start off with a rhythm bed. And then from there, just see what lyrics come out of it and what the tone for the whole thing is. And like I say, build the soundscapes from there on.
Okay.
It's pretty much it. And then hammering the sound together is that's Corey's situation. He does the recording, basically the sound sculpting, if you like to call it. And from there, we'd like to make it just, drums like cannons and guitars like the canyon walls, make them big sound.
I love it. Love it. Miss Sanja?
So then they go and do these jam sessions and then send me things that they've jammed. And I go, oh, now I can do something with this. I have to put something on there. So my favorite thing back in the day was I would walk my dog, and I no longer have her because she passed away a couple of years ago. But I would walk her and have my headphones on, and I would listen to these beds and kind of get the ideas in my head about how to lay the vocals on there. And I would work on lyrics, like either I would have them done whenever I had inspiration, or I would just sit there and go like, oh, okay, like our song All or Nothing. I literally sat there listening to the song and came up with the lyrics for it just because we called it All or Nothing. So that one came about. But that was my thing. I would walk around for an hour all over the neighborhood with the headphones with Tia and just kind of go, okay, this is how it goes. And then once I finalized the melody with the words and everything, it just sticks, and it stays the same. Like it doesn't change.
Okay.
So if I'm still wavering when I do the vocals, I haven't finalized it yet. So that's how we know, like if I can do it and repeat it exactly the same way when we record, I've done my job.
Okay.
But I just wanted to go back a little bit and let you know that how we got together was back in 2012. I was actually surfing around the web looking for a band to join because I had an original band that kind of fell apart. Like we did all kinds of hard rock stuff before, and we were doing some live shows, and it was really kind of hard to break through in here. And that fell apart and set on the burner for a bit. And then I decided, well, I'm going to go and check out if there's anybody out there. So I answered an ad, and these guys were actually like looking for a singer.
Okay.
So, and then I auditioned, and we all got together and we played for a little while in that cover band. And then John and Corey went their separate way. I stayed with that band for a couple of years, and then it didn't go anywhere because I really wanted to do something original. I didn't want to do the covers because I didn't really see a point of doing, like the all night at the bar and just you're sitting there and you're doing the same thing and you do something else. It's enjoyable, of course, but it's also hard because you want to create stuff.
Right.
And at one point, it was about 2017, 2018, when I reconnected back with Corey. And Corey and John have been doing this all along, like throughout.
Oh, wow.
Having a cover band, not having a cover band, they had their own side thing.
Okay.
And in 2015, even when I was with this cover band, I worked on one of their songs. So I was featured on the site. And after that, in 2018, I sent them a tune that I kind of wanted to redo and say, okay, let's do something. So we reconnected. And from that whole thing, it was, okay, let's do this. Let's record this and let's get this one. And how about you put something on here? And just slowly, we figured that it worked. And John would put vocals on there. And then I would go and I would either do the same thing or do harmonies or would do two different things. And we figured that it just kind of fit together.
Okay.
And Corey would do his magic and just kind of mix it all up properly. We're like, okay, well, this actually sounds quite good. So that's how we all started doing this. And we came up with the album in 2019. We came up with Horizons. And that was released on the platform, all the platforms right now. That was our first together type of deal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
okay. So now speaking of Canada, now it is interesting how I've heard people say there are more cover bands in Canada than they are originals. Is that correct? Maybe?
Well, that's could be a matter of opinion. It all depends on where you look.
Okay.
The bar work is always been there, but what with the internet and getting everybody being able to get out there, there are bands that are working in Europe right now, like just basically speaking as exotic acts, if you like, because they're from Canada, and we hardly ever hear them over here because of the fact that there's no real outlet for it. It's
really?
Well, it's still pretty much heavily focused on FM cable up here. And, like streaming, there are streaming services. You have things like iHeartRadio, that kind of thing.
Of course.
But we're not. There's not as far as I'm aware of anyway, any real independent streaming stations here that have a voice for bands like us. Just to be able to get out there. Yeah.
I agree.
Wow.
I agree with that. And you know what? It's predominant. Like you can try and push your original music, but you have to be doing that as a part of a cover. Otherwise, it's really hard to go because there isn't that many venues that will do just the original stuff. And if you do get in there, it's like multiple bands overnight. And like you are hauling your gear in, hauling your gear out. Maybe you can get to do 7 songs if you're lucky in there. And it's just in and out, in and out. And in Calgary, especially, like we do have a good metal scene, but this town there's a lot of country around here, and there's quite a bit. So that even, like I would say, is bigger because one of my friends, his mother is actually a country artist, and she's all over the place. She does all kinds of original stuff, but for metal and for hard rock, it's just like John said, like it's mostly kind of mainstream, and there's like student radios, but not very much that you can actually get out. There are some venues, of course, but it's not like, say, Austin, Texas, that
right.
A whole bunch of other stuff.
Right. So in other words, if I'm understanding correctly, in order for you guys to really kind of get your stuff out there, like literally you need to travel outside of Canada, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. And Europe, big. Europe is actually huge on metal. And like, there's a number of original bands that I actually know, like my brother-in-law is in a metal band from Lethbridge, Canada.
Okay.
We're going to go and tour around Europe, starting in Germany, because they're so popular down there. Like it is just crazy how much stuff. And then that Corey was saying that our stuff was being played in Italy, like streamed in Italy a lot. So it's just crazy how things get out there, but we don't really know about it.
Wow.
My apologies.
No, there's nothing for you to apologize whatsoever, honey. Please, trust me, I'm wiping my nose over here. So, so that is one of the reasons why, not one of the reasons why, but that's why I love the fact that these bands do submit stuff to Reverb Nation, because a lot of times these guys just don't think it works. I'm like, you guys, it does work. You just got to be patient with it. But speaking of that, and because I got you guys off of Reverb Nation, what would you suggest to those bands out there who are just trying to just figure it out? What would you suggest?
Have a John. I would say have a John. John is our behind the scenes guy who's pushing all that and submitting all that kind of stuff. Like I do some technical stuff, and I have a full-time job and all kinds of other things, but John is really pushing all that behind, and then Corey's doing all the mixing things. So we kind of have our own stuff, but it's just
in-house production.
Be relentless. And John is really relentless when it comes to that.
True.
Well, that's it. It's one step in front of the other, and you got to keep pushing and don't stop. This is the whole thing. Like we're working on finishing up our 4th album here at the moment. Whereas the point is some people, they get together and they're lucky if they get one put out, one compilation, and then something looks better and they go off to do something else. So it's really dedication to just what kind of sound you want and what type of look is you're capable of.
Yes.
Like I do all the graphics myself. I got a graphic design thing. And
wow,
basically put it all together and make pictures look like paintings, things like that.
I've seen some of the stuff you've dropped on my page. I'm like, holy crap! Okay, now I know you do that, sir.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me doing it. But for the most part, it's just don't let the critics get you down. Believe in what you're doing and believe in your own voice. And and my biggest problem is, as I've thought was a problem beforehand, was I'm not a jukebox. I have a real problem doing cover material, because like a guy's lead breaks are his own. And just because I can say copy one didn't make it worthy, really. It just didn't feel like it was coming from the heart.
Okay.
So when it comes to the writing, it's just a matter of just getting the inside out and getting things to, like I say, sound paintings. They're more like paintings than they are songs to me. Landscapes, if you will.
Oh, that was poetic.
Emotion behind. There's an actual emotion behind the music, and there's emotion behind the lyrics.
Right.
Like, really.
True. And that's you hit it right on the head, Mother. You hit it right on the head. That is amazing, because that is, I wish I could, because I've had a couple of bands who said, well, what would you recommend? I'm like, I am not the person to ask, because I know in my head what sounds good, but what your sound is in your head, not mine. So the first thing I tell people is do your homework. Do your homework, because there could be, umpteen bands out there that sound the same or something, but you need to differentiate what is going to make Jacqui Raven click on your band to select you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
So I just wish, you're right, I wish people would stick to it, and the process does work, but you just have to stick with it. So because we're only allowed to choose so many during a quarter, and I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, I can only do so much. So
well, that's it. There's so many reasons not to, and people do find that, and it's instant gratification. Well, there's no instant success on any of this.
Facts. That's true. That's totally true.
I'm perfect example of that.
Whatever, John.
I know, that's twice.
Whatever. I don't want to hear that, John. I don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear that. Now, you guys have a pretty good loyal fan base. You guys have a pretty good loyal. I mean, you guys are literally going neck and neck every week with another band, and for you guys to be a 3-piece and you guys are doing this is.
Yeah, well, we like to make a lot of racket.
Yeah.
I like a lot of racket, though, I do. What do I say every week, John? Piss off the neighbors? Come on.
Piss off the neighbors. That's got to make the ears bleed.
Absolutely. Now, do you guys have like any shows or anything like that that's coming up at all?
Not at this time, but maybe in the future. Like, we were just really getting going when COVID hit. And it pushed us back with everything, and then it was really hard to get, like, do this, do that, restrictions, watch everybody's health, trying to do things and be safe at the same time.
Of course.
And of course, like, everybody's been affected differently by the pandemic and what's been going on. So everybody's dealing with some kind. I know I'm dealing with some mental health issues from the whole thing, right? And it's just kind of hard to gather yourself.
Right.
To actually make yourself and go and say, okay. And then when you get to that point, you get the freaking COVID, or you get, a cold or bronchitis or something.
Right.
So I would go in periods of time and go, okay, I'm working on these 3 songs at the same time, and I just cannot get my shit together. Just can't do it. And then at one point it just clicks, and I go and say, okay, now I'm ready, and I'm coming to record 3 songs all at once, and we do it in one afternoon.
It makes it a moment in time.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there can be a long period of time before that I just cannot put anything on there, and I can listen to it. I have an idea, but I just cannot actually get it out.
Right.
And it makes it a little bit harder, because I've never actually written things the way that I do with these guys, because I have a literal bed that I have to work with. And if you listen to many different things, the structure changes all the time. It's not your classic structure of chorus, verse, chorus, chorus. It's like, oh, here we go. We start with this, and it's cool, and then we just hit something in the left field, and we come back. So it makes me really work on how I can incorporate the lyrics that I put on, or and when John sends me the lyrics that he comes up with, and I go, okay, now I have to put this into melody and maybe change things, because he might put a bed on there and say, okay, well, what about this? And then I hear something else. And then we work together. I go, okay, I'll put this on and tell me if you like it or not. So it's really challenging at times, but it's also rewarding once you actually get it done. And when that is actually laid on there, and Corey mixes just that first mix, and he always says, oh, it's not going to be done for a while. And by 8 o'clock that night, there's a first mix sent out to us. So we're like, okay, this actually sounds really good. And it just gets better and better and better from there.
That is insane. I can't. This is so cool. Again, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that there's only 3 of you. I mean, it's just.
Well, it all started basically with rhythms, really. As Corey is, you can hear from what he does, he's one hell of a drummer. And he and I read each other really well, always have done. And my biggest problem with writing songs has always been formula, and how to even break out of a formula. And it ends up with just staring at that blank page for days kind of thing. And so this is basically why we started off just doing it, jamming out of good bed first and just see what that sounds like. And then building it up from there. See what the bed inspires you to write for a lyric. And then just kind of do a process and stack the layerings and hopefully have a decent picture at the end of it.
You need to stop being so modest, John. Okay, just stop, because you guys stop it. I can't with you. Okay, last question, you guys, because I definitely don't want to keep you too long.
Okay, you bet.
In both of your opinions, how do you feel the industry has changed? The 80s, everybody says the 80s was the best genre ever. At least I do anyway. How do you guys feel the progression has been since then?
Go ahead there, Sanja.
I enjoyed the 80s.
Yes.
But then I also enjoyed when grunge kind of came out and shook the scene in the 90s. And like I grew up in Bosnia. I've only been in Canada since the Bosnian War, but I didn't really have an opportunity to do music down there because it just wasn't something that was like really feasible.
Yeah.
It was really out of the box. And then when I tried to do something when I first came here, it was difficult. Again, in Alberta here for a female to do anything because I didn't want to do pop stuff. Right. I wanted to do like hard rock and metal, and like it was just not something that you can do. But I really enjoyed that whole the 80s scene, and even now, like I catch myself just watching, like the retro, but it says retro 80s. I'm like, oh, what do you mean retro 80s? We have some really cool like hair metal from that era. Yeah. But the mixture of here comes, like, I like the melodies a lot. Like I like heavy metal, but for me, it has to have that kind of melody in there. Like I don't want to say death metal. Like you can have, I think that metal musicians play amazingly.
Yeah.
Like they are just so good at what they do.
Right.
But it has to have that kind of melody in there.
Right.
I think the melody pulls from the 80s, and then it kind of mixes in with some pieces of grunge from the 90s. And then it goes into this new metal with pieces of death metal in there, and then throw some melodic metal rock in there, and you get what I kind of like.
Cataclysm.
Answers your question, but like I really like different mixtures, but it has to be heavy. I love a lot of drums. The double kick, I absolutely love it. Like any old song that is, oh, this is the greatest hit, like ABBA. Do an ABBA song with making it really hard and get that double kick going in there and get some, solos in there and make that disco song that it has such a good melody and caught so many people.
Right.
Make it into a really hard metal song. Like that is something that I would like to do.
Wow. Somebody will come out with this. I know somebody will. Somebody will. John, how about you, my friend?
Yeah. Well, Back in the 80s, I gotta say that was solid stuff. That's when I was doing my own touring stuff. And I had a band called Vigil at that time, and which is primarily the first half of the name of the band. And we came up with a name after we had to come up with something. And so this was just, Vigil was my ante into this, which is why there's a hyphen in the name. But anyways, given that, it went from really honest, physical, hard rock up into metal, the proto metals, that type of thing up, and then into hair metal. And of course, it was a party right from one end to the other. And I just love that the time. And but as it progressed, things, you get into grunge and farther, and you get into bands like Soundgarden, that type of thing. Love the bottom end. Love apocalyptic grandeur. That's the whole thing. Just huge sound. That's what I like to see. But as far as the music industry went, well, that's all been pretty well tore to pieces, really, from what it used to be. And then if situations like our own wouldn't have been able to happen back in the day. Sure. And so there's definitely positives to it. The very fact that we have Reverb Nation, that we have the, you folks doing the streaming radio, and there is an outlet for it now. Yes. Whereas back then, if you didn't have the money to press your own 45s or whatever, you just ended up staying in the bushes.
Good luck with that. You're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. And that's why I love doing things like this, because I don't know if you hear, but I always say, Sanja, you guys, that the mainstream bands have made theirs. Yes. It's time for the independent bands, for their voices to be heard. And I say that all the time.
100% agree. Yep.
Yes. And I wish more people felt that way, because if it wasn't for the independent bands, there would be no mainstream.
No, yeah. That's just it.
That's true.
And that's the biggest problem that bands had back then, is the ladder, so to speak, was blocked. Yeah. And if you didn't have the money to pay to get from rung to rung, there's no way it all was going to happen.
True.
But so now, true. Well, we're building our own.
Yes, yep. Yes, and I love it. I can't tell you guys how much I bow my heads down to both of you, all three of you, actually, because you guys are simply amazing. And
much appreciate that.
No, okay. Sanja, honey, like I said, every week it does my heart good to see what you guys do, because you guys literally are just amazing. And I'm not trying to kiss your butt, you know what I'm saying? But,
no, we appreciate hearing that for sure.
You do.
Oh, no worries. And again,
spread the love, girl.
Honey, I spread love every week and more. You know that.
Yeah, I do. I listen faithfully.
Oh, thank you, my dear. I appreciate you so much. You guys, I cannot say enough about VIGIL-ANTE. You guys know that they are on my Ravens Reveal for the next 4 weeks. My God, I can't believe 12 weeks have gone by already, almost.
Yeah.
That's insane. Insane. And you guys, I say this all the time, and Sanja and John, please jump in, but get on the social sites. It costs you no money whatsoever to get on their Facebook page, Spotify, check out their socials, check out what these bands are all about. Because again, without you, there is no station, there's no me. But it's not about this. It's about y'all having that voice to be heard and supporting each other. That's what this is all about. So VIGIL-ANTE, they're from Alberta, Canada. Canada is out. It's cold as crap up there right now, but you know what? It is. If it's not metal, it's about hockey. Hockey metal. That's
we got priorities here.
I know this. I know this. Trust me, I know this. Oh my God. John, Sanja, any last words from you guys?
No, just love the opportunity to compete, Jacqui. Glad we managed to connect up and just glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you. Miss Sanja.
And I second what he said. We are very excited when we were picked, and we are happy to be played on your radio and to do this interview too, because it was a tough one to try to get everybody together with everybody. And we hope that you feel better soon.
Oh, you too.
You'll feel better soon.
You too.
And who knows what the future holds, right?
I know that means you guys need to bring your butts back, down here to the U.S. so we can hear you guys.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so
Yes, absolutely. Well, you guys, we're gonna, you guys hold on for 1 second, but I'm gonna go ahead and play a station commercial. And we're gonna get into a couple other songs that John sent me that I have not played on the show as of yet. I love Metal Up though. I'm digging that. I'm so digging that. That is so cool. But there's a couple other tracks that John sent me that I have not played yet. And I think we're going to do that. So you guys, we're going to do a commercial break and then we're going to get into some vigilante. So stay tuned.
Get social now. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The new Now 99 WNRR. Streaming digital radio.
Another Sunday night, the stress keeps singing, dreading another tomorrow, same day, same day. No one knows the real me and how I'm split too. The double life I lead, things I have to do. Whoa. Yeah.
one on Raven's Reveal fan vote this week. And thank you guys so much for the chat. It was absolutely amazing. But you know what? I have got a ton of music to get to. And let's get to it because, I only got a couple more hours. Let's get into Some Scars Remain, shall we?